You know, somebody right now, we talking right now, somebody right now probably getting shot up right now. Like, shit, you gotta stay out the way, man.
Dallas been through some wild street chaos, but this one hits different. A leaked clip just surfaced showing Yella Beezy caught off guard, talking a little too freely about the Mo3 situation without even realizing the camera was rolling. Now everybody in the city is buzzing, and things just got way too real. This leak shook the whole scene. The moment Beezy slipped up wasn't on stage or during some fancy interview. Nah, this was off-the-record energy. He wasn't performing or guarded like when Vlad or Say Cheese got a mic in his face. He was laid back, talking like the cameras were off, like it was just regular talk between homies. That's when people forget how one small sentence can flip their whole image overnight. What makes this moment wild is simple. Beezy had no clue he was being filmed when he casually mentioned something that links straight to the Mo3 situation. The second those words left his mouth, his vibe shifted instantly. You can literally see the confidence drain from his face. This wasn't the polished Beezy who used to sit in interviews pretending he didn't even know who Mo3 was, saying stuff like, "I don't know who that is." This was a different Beezy, one who spoke freely, like the streets weren't tuned in and the people in power weren't paying attention. When you hear that clip and see how comfortable he looked before realizing what he said, it's wild. He wasn't angry or defensive, just chill and relaxed, and that's usually when the truth slips out. Whenever that topic pops up, Beezy instantly flips into media-trained mode. He shrugs, smiles, and sidesteps every question like a pro. Sometimes he even pretends not to know how to say Mo3's name, like he's never heard it before. He pulled the same move in another interview when someone asked about diss tracks, brushing it off with, "I ain't never heard that artist." But the streets swear these two had one of the deepest, quietest, and most secret feuds in Dallas rap history. This is the same guy who, in early 2025, got hit with major legal trouble, accused of setting up a shady plan through others to target Mo3 along a Dallas freeway. Reports say Beezy was officially charged and placed on house arrest, waiting for court dates to unfold. So the last thing he needed was to be caught on camera talking too freely about anything that connects him to those street stories. But that's exactly what went down. To really get how heavy this leaked clip is, remember, Beezy once admitted on camera years ago that he had been in street situations before, calling it self-defense or retaliation, not random beef. He tried to explain it off, but the message was clear. He'd been in those kinds of moments before. Back then, people didn't think much of it. But once Mo3's name got involved, that old interview aged terribly. Suddenly, everything Beezy ever said about street run-ins started resurfacing everywhere. Blogs started reposting old clips, fans built timelines, and rumors that had been quiet since 2018 came roaring back. Beezy was driving down the George Bush Turnpike when things got wild. His car got hit up with over 20 rounds, and he was struck multiple times. In his own words, the people who pulled up came from the side and started letting off shots. Right away, folks began tying it back to the Mo3 drama, even though Mo3 denied having anything to do with it. But fans weren't letting it slide. They started digging. They pulled up old lyrics, interviews, and lives, piecing together the long, complicated history between the two artists. Even though Beezy always claimed he didn't know Mo3, saying things like, "I don't know who Buddy is," the streets never believed that. And when Mo3 lost his life in broad daylight on I-35, chased down and taken out while trying to get away, the city didn't see it as random. They saw it as another chapter in a long, quiet Dallas rivalry that had been brewing for years. Over 800,000 fans reacted online. Dallas froze up. Police said it looked planned, not random. That's exactly why this leaked clip is shaking everything right now. Beezy spent years acting like none of that history ever existed. He acted like Mo3 was never even on his radar. Like all that talk online was just made-up drama.
That state's witness will also testify that Marquise Conway was one of the individuals responsible for a portion of that payment.
But now, this new footage paints a totally different picture. It shows Beezy relaxed, speaking freely, saying things that accidentally line up with what investigators have been whispering about for years. And here's the wildest part. It wasn't said in anger or under pressure. He wasn't being grilled or cornered. He was laughing, laid back, comfortable. That's when people usually slip, and he did. He let out a sentence he's been denying for years, casually hinting at something connected to this entire saga. He thought nobody was recording, but the camera was. The second Beezy realized what slipped out, His whole body changed. His face tightened up. His shoulders tensed, and it hit him. He's still got serious legal heat hanging over him. He tried to clean it up, tried to laugh it off like it wasn't that deep, but the damage was already done. You could literally feel the panic take over. When someone says something they shouldn't, there's no hiding that moment, and Beezy felt it instantly. That panic ran deep because Beezy has spent years trying to keep his name far from anything that sounds like payback or connections to Mo3. Every interview he's done on that topic is full of denial and control. When he talked with Mo3’s, for example, he played it off like he never even heard of Mo3, acting clueless like, I don't know that man. But in this new clip, it's a whole different energy. He speaks with detail, drops little references, and his tone sounds way more personal. Like he's not reciting a script this time, but speaking straight truth. And it's no secret the pressure on him has been heavy since that legal case hit. Reports claim the state believes Beezy had some kind of organized connection in that Mo3 situation and charged him with one of the toughest counts in Texas law. They say investigators pulled phone data, messages, and even looked into money trails trying to piece it all together. Chase Bank even got pulled in to talk about Beezy's money moves. So yeah, this is way past music drama. This isn't some industry beef. This is real legal pressure, the kind that could change a man's whole life. That's exactly why his little slip up hit so hard, it's catastrophic. The justice system eats up patterns, and when someone's own words start matching an investigator's theory, that's game-changing. Prosecutors love when a person contradicts themselves on camera, and now Beezy's words just gave them something new to work with. For years, Beezy kept saying he wasn't tied to any street mess. He denied being in any type of crew and swore he left that life behind. When Mo3’s asked about street ties, he claimed he never moved like that. He cleaned up his image, played the family man card, and built this picture of a chill, business-minded artist. But in this new footage, that version of Beezy vanishes. He sounds like a man who's lived through the same street cycles everyone's been whispering about, talking like he's seen it all, firsthand. That's why the internet lost it. Because when Beezy forgot those cameras were rolling, he didn't sound like the polished rapper the world sees. He sounded like the version the streets have been talking about for years, and the timing couldn't be worse. Right now, Beezy's under house arrest, only allowed out once a week to record music. The judge even approved 5-hour studio sessions, but that's it. He's locked down tight. When someone on trial starts looking inconsistent or sketchy, it changes everything. Jurors can feel it. They don't like when someone switches up their story or acts one way in public and another way behind closed doors. And this clip, it shows a side of Beezy that his lawyers never wanted the world to see. What makes this moment even bigger is how perfectly the slip-up lines up with details that people, investigators, fans, and bloggers have been speculating about for years. It doesn't prove anything by itself, but it cracks open a door Beezy's been trying to keep shut tight. Dallas streets have been whispering for a long time that the 2018 attack Beezy survived was the real spark behind the whole feud. After that incident, people online said Beezy's energy shifted. His mood changed, his lyrics changed, his interviews sounded different. And when Mo3 lost his life not long after, fans started digging back into old clips and posts, saying the tension ran deeper than anyone thought. Even big hip-hop outlets jumped in. Pages like Academics and others reposted headlines about Beezy's legal situation, bringing back all the theories that folks thought were buried. Now, when Beezy says anything that lines up with that old talk, even slightly, it blows up like a firecracker. Whether he meant it or not, that one moment crushed the "I don't know that man" image he's been pushing for years. What makes this next part even crazier is that when you line up the secret clip with everything Beezy's ever denied, the dots start connecting on their own. Go back far enough and you'll see. This story was never just about music. It wasn't just two artists from the same city trading songs. It was about deep tension that had been bubbling in Dallas for years. Different neighborhoods, different cliques, and too many egos colliding. It was only a matter of time before it exploded. Beezy and Mo3 were both climbing the ranks in that pressure cooker scene. Two rising names who couldn't escape the drama around them.
When Yella Beezy got shot,
and her rap beef.
But the way Beezy tells it in public, you'd think he was some quiet, laid-back suburban dad who makes trap songs on weekends for fun. He talks like he stays out the way, like his biggest problem is choosing between Gucci sneakers or Dior slides. But behind the cameras, a whole different story was playing out, one full of street tension, quiet payback energy, rumors, and coded shots online. Even fans started treating it like a live chess match, watching every move, every lyric, every post. And that tension didn't start with Mo3's passing. It started way before, back in 2018 when Beezy barely survived his own ambush. Right after that, the internet exploded with theories. People went through old songs, club footage, and IG lives trying to piece together who might have been connected, and one name kept getting whispered, even when folks were scared to say it out loud. Reports said Beezy's car got hit up more than 20 times that night, and he somehow made it out alive. That would shake anyone up, but what caught people off guard was how calm he seemed afterward. Instead of acting shocked or scared, he looked unbothered, almost too unbothered. Beezy didn't look scared or confused after that attack. He looked like someone who had seen that kind of chaos before, like he already knew what that moment felt like. And crazy enough, that actually lines up with his own words. Back in 2019, before the Mo3 situation even existed, Beezy openly admitted in an interview that he had fired shots in the past. If he said something like that today, it would blow up the internet instantly. In that interview, he tried to explain it away, saying it was retaliation, not aggression. But when you stack that statement next to the 2018 ambush he survived, and then fast forward to the 2020 tragedy involving Mo3, a pattern starts to show, whether Beezy wants to admit it or not. And that's where this leaked secret clip fits in perfectly. In that footage, he casually brings up something he's denied for years, sounding way too comfortable talking about a topic that's been haunting him publicly. The internet didn't even need confirmation. Everyone instantly caught on to what he was hinting at. Fans, bloggers, and even Dallas insiders who usually stay quiet started reacting. This wasn't a small slip-up. This was a moment where a man whose whole legal defense depends on saying, "I wasn't involved," suddenly sounded like someone who might have been closer to the situation than he ever let on. That's why this clip feels so explosive. Everything people have whispered about, debated, and argued for years suddenly felt real. Not in a courtroom way, but in the kind of way that hits the streets and spreads fast. The kind of moment that feels like the truth slipped out when the mask fell off. And here's where things take a darker turn. When Mo3 lost his life on I-35 back in November 2020, it shook Dallas to its core. It wasn't some random act. It was bold, public, and deeply personal. An innocent bystander even got hurt that day, and the second the news broke, social media went crazy. Within hours, the internet started connecting dots, saying it all linked back to Beezy's 2018 ambush. Fans began digging up old clips of Mo3, hinting at street tension, and bringing up Beezy's old "I don't know him" interview, calling him out for not being real. The story spun from heartbreak to full-blown conspiracy in minutes, and everyone had an opinion. Then things took another wild turn. Dallas police made their first major arrest, Q and Dontrell White, accused of being the one who carried out the attack. He got charged in early 2021, and later federal papers linked him to illegal weapons, landing him a long sentence for firearm possession. But the story didn't stop there. Another name popped up, Devin Maurice Brown, an alleged accomplice who flipped the whole case on its head. Court filings claimed Brown admitted he was upset over a woman, someone connected to Mo3, and prosecutors said that emotion tied directly into what went down. It was jealousy, heartbreak, ego, and revenge all mixed together in a messy storm that shook the city. Through all of this, he seemed untouchable. The streets gossiped, bloggers dropped theories, and fans argued nonstop. But Beezy stayed calm. He posted about music, smiled in photos, and acted like none of it had anything to do with him. But then came March 18th, 2025. Everything changed. A Dallas County grand jury officially indicted him, accusing Beezy of setting things up behind the scenes. The charge basically said the state believed he didn't do it himself, but paid others to handle it. Just 2 days later, on March 20th, 2025, Beezy was arrested, and the internet went nuclear. Some people celebrated, others defended him, and the rest started reposting old clips with captions like "the why," "the lies caught up." But what made it worse for Beezy was how specific that indictment was. It didn't leave much room for guessing. It directly claimed he worked with both White and Brown, backed by supposed financial evidence investigators were reviewing. Fans were stunned. Dallas felt like it was watching a movie unfold in real life. Even people outside the city were glued to their screens, saying it felt like the last puzzle piece had finally fallen into place. But through all the noise, Beezy denied everything. No interviews, no statements, no reactions, just silence. Beezy started sounding like someone who knew exactly what was going on. Even the judge in his case has been strict, keeping him under full house arrest and only allowing 5 hours a week to hit the studio. Reports even said, judge approves limited recording sessions for Beezy while awaiting trial. That's how tight things are for him. He can't afford mistakes, can't afford mixed messages, and definitely can't afford anything that even looks suspicious. But now, he's caught on camera saying something he never wanted the world or a courtroom to hear. And here's the real problem. The internet believes this clip more than any official statement Beezy's ever made, because reactions don't lie. When people feel relaxed, when they think the cameras are off, that's when the truth slips. And Beezy, he looked way too comfortable. Then came the sentence that changed everything. Once people heard that one line he accidentally let out, the entire case suddenly made sense in a whole new way. It wasn't some vague comment you could twist 100 ways. It wasn't coded or protected by artistic wording. No, what Beezy said in that clip was clear, specific, and bold enough to make everyone watching stop, rewind, and say, did he just say that? Before we get into the exact line, you need to picture the scene. Beezy wasn't in a studio, wasn't sitting across from an interviewer, and definitely wasn't surrounded by lawyers or handlers. Nah, this was casual vibes. A living room setup, low music, drinks around, people laughing, talking, and Beezy deep in memory lane, bragging, joking, and letting his guard drop. It was one of those moments where rappers start talking freely when they feel like they're among friends. Forgetting how fast a single sentence can travel once it hits the internet, he wasn't whispering, he wasn't careful. He was talking like someone who thought nobody in the room was recording, but somebody was. And that one clip ended up blowing the internet apart, because in that moment, Beezy let a sentence slide that made the entire room go quiet and the internet lose its mind. He said, "We already handled that boy before he got touched." That's the exact line that flipped everything upside down. The second those words hit social media, people froze, hit replay, and started connecting the dots. The clip spread like wildfire. Fans debated, bloggers analyzed every second, and even prosecutors had to stop and pay attention. Now let's be clear, Beezy didn't say, "We did it," or directly admit to anything like that. He didn't confess on camera, not word for word, but that's not the problem. The real issue isn't what he said literally, it's what his words implied. The danger is how perfectly his statement lines up with what people have been whispering ever since Mo3's end. Here's why that matters. For years, fans in Dallas have argued about whether Beezy and Mo3 ever had a real confrontation before that tragic day. Some said it went down at a club, others said it happened in the streets. Some tied it to a woman, others to old drama, but no matter who you ask, the rumor was always the same. Something went down between them before that highway incident. Beezy's always denied it though. Every interview, every podcast, he acts like he doesn't even know Mo3, saying things like, "I ain't never heard him." He's played that role for years, brushing off any connection. But now, with this leaked clip, that whole image starts to crumble. Because when Beezy casually said, "We handled that boy before he got touched," it completely shattered the story he's been pushing. That single line tells the world he wasn't clueless. It suggests he knew what was happening, maybe even had some kind of personal connection to the situation. Suddenly, Mo3 didn't look like a random figure in Beezy's story. It looked personal, something deeper, something tied to history, and Beezy's words gave everyone enough to start piecing it together without needing extra proof. And when you match that clip to the timeline prosecutors already laid out, it's wild how much it lines up. Reports claim Beezy was tied to a plan involving Q and Brown, supposedly as a form of retaliation. So when the leaked video dropped, fans went straight into detective mode. Screenshots, comparisons, and old interviews flooded the internet. Beezy sounded so familiar with Mo3's name in that clip, it was like their whole conflict was an open secret among the people around him. But things get even more intense when you rewind and actually watch his face the moment he says that line. He doesn't look confident or proud. He looks spooked. His eyes dart around, his mouth tightens, and you can literally see the moment it hits him. I said too much. He tries to brush it off, laughs awkwardly, changes the subject, grabs his drink, leans back, and avoids eye contact. Every move screams regret. It's the classic body language of someone who knows they crossed the line. And once the clip hit the internet, bloggers instantly started putting it side by side with his past interviews. Take the one he did with Mo3’, for example. When asked about street ties, his tone was stiff, defensive, all business. He said, I don't do no, trying to distance himself from all that energy. But in this leaked footage, you see a man speaking freely, comfortable, and open about things he's always claimed to have nothing to do with. That's the contradiction people notice, and it's the kind of inconsistency prosecutors love. Because juries don't trust the version of you that's polished for the camera, they believe the one that slips out when you think nobody's watching. And the timing of this leak couldn't be worse. Beezy's still under house arrest, waiting for trial, only allowed 5 hours a week in the studio. The judge already made it clear that any slip up, no matter how small, could tighten his restrictions even more. Reports even read, judge imposes strict monitoring on Beezy during pretrial release. But this wasn't a small mistake. It was a bombshell. The second the clip hit social media, Dallas lit up. Some people said it was proof, others called it carelessness, and a few claimed it had to be a setup, but nobody could deny how bad it looked. Fans started pulling up old threads, old lyrics, and posts labeled things like Mo3's beef with Beezy linked to earlier altercations. And if this case ever makes it in front of a jury, prosecutors won't even have to prove that the clip was a straight-up confession. They just need to prove that Beezy can't be trusted. Because a jury that doesn't believe the defendant, that's a jury that convicts. And right now, Beezy's biggest problem isn't even the charges, it's the contradictions. He can't explain why, in official interviews, he acts like Mo3 never existed, but when he thinks nobody's watching, he talks about handling that boy. He can't explain why he denies every rumor in public, but then accidentally confirms the same kind of energy that those rumors were built on. He can't explain why he looks calm and unbothered when the cameras are rolling, yet terrified the moment the truth slips out of his own mouth. And the worst part, he can't erase that clip. Once something hits the internet, it's there forever. Screenshots don't vanish, reposts don't disappear, blogs don't delete viral footage, and prosecutors definitely don't overlook something that helps their case. Whether Beezy meant it literally or just slipped emotionally doesn't matter anymore. The damage is done. What matters now is perception. What matters is that contradiction between the image he built and the words he accidentally let slip. What matters is that for the first time, he sounded exactly like the version of himself the streets have been whispering about for years. When no lawyers coaching him, no PR teams polishing his words, and no cameras are staged just right, Beezy finally spoke from that raw, hidden place. And that version of him might just decide how this whole story ends. If you found this breakdown wild, make sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned to see what's really going down in our hood next.